Hello, welcome to the Rooms with Ronald podcast, brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. I'm your host, Ronald Harrington. In 2023, I set an intention to shop 100 apartment communities to see how leasing was evolving around the country. Rooms with Ronald was born out of that experience. In this series, I share my experiences and engage in meaningful conversations with other professionals in the industry as we discuss all things related to leasing and marketing. Join in as we expand the Rooms with Ronald experiment. Hello, and welcome to Rooms with Ronald. I'm your host, Ronald Harrington, and this is a podcast on all things leasing and marketing. And I have a very special treat for you guys today. I decided to create Rooms with Ronald Micro Living Editions. And what this bi-weekly podcast is going to be doing is it's going to taking bite-sized information to you guys. Now, what that means is it's not going to be 30 or 40 minutes. They're going to be less than 10 minutes. And you are listening to the inaugural show. So let's get started. Now, I wanted to talk today about personal image. I know some of you are probably rolling your eyes as you heard that word, right? But what does that mean? I've been shopping a lot of properties over the last couple of years, and I've noticed that the way we present ourselves may not be who we truly are, or a true representation of ourselves or even our properties. So here's what we need to think about, right? I rolled into properties, and it seemed that the leasing agent who was touring me had just got out of bed. I mean, her hair was a mess, or his hair was a mess. They didn't have the right attire on, all of that. So you have to be mindful of what you're putting out there. And it may not be intentional. That just may be how you normally dress. But from the eyes of the prospect, we lose confidence in you. So I want you to take a moment and think about this. If you went to a restaurant and you walked into the restaurant and the person who came to seat you or to take your order, or if you looked into the kitchen and that person looked like they hadn't washed their hair in a couple weeks, maybe not even took a bath, fingernails were dirty, just kind of sloppily put together, you probably would not want to eat at this restaurant, right? Because you would think, wow, they're handling my food and this is how they look. Is my food going to be edible? Is it going to be safe to consume, right? You lost confidence in that person. Well, the same thing applies to our prospect. When they walk in, if you're not in a presentable manner, then they're going to say, wow, they don't care about their product. They're not going to give me great customer service. Or they're going to say, oh, well, is the apartment going to be clean because their desk isn't clean, or they're not giving off the vibes of a great personal image? Now, I'm not saying that you have to be in a full suit and tie or a skirt and a blazer. No, what I'm saying is read your market and understand, okay, so what is it that I'm comfortable with? What is the market doing? And what is the image that I want to give off? So when I first started in this industry, I wore suit and ties every day to the property for probably about the first month, right? I had my ties, I had my jackets. I mean, I was dressed to the nines. However, I realized that that image did not fit my prospects clientele or even the property, right? I was giving off these high-rise luxury vibes when actually I was a C, B minus property. So I learned that once I kind of stepped back and maybe I didn't have the jacket and it was just a tie. And then there were some days that I had the jacket and not the tie. But most days it was just dress pants and a dress shirt that gave me that personal image that I needed to achieve to be successful at that property. Wear what you're confident in too, right? When you dress up, you become more confident. And when you're confident, you close more leases. Now, I've went into a property and the person has had sweatshirts on. Whether or not the sweatshirt is logoed with your company or anything like that, it's just a little too casual for most places. I've seen ladies in leggings or sweatpants even on both genders. That's not okay, right? Because, like, again, I walked in and I immediately lost confidence in you. You couldn't even take the time to make yourself presentable to me as a prospect. Then you're probably not going to take the time to get to know me as a prospect. And so a lot of times what I like to do is when I go to a property and shop is I kind of gauge the experience of how the people are dressed. So the nicer they're dressed, the more I feel like I'm going to get a better experience than the more casually that they're dressed. I also think, oh, I'm not going to get as great of an experience. The other thing to really think about too is that I'm seeing when it comes to personal image is kind of like these earpieces coming back in. We don't want to see your AirPod. Now, I understand there are some companies and some communities out there that have the headsets for the telephone and not a physical telephone anymore. That's fine, right? But I need to know that up front. And, maybe when you're talking to your prospect, you take it out. What I don't want to see is you walking with that earpiece. The other thing that I've really kind of noticed is that sometimes I'll go to properties and the leasing professionals look like they're about to go to the club. Now, that's great. However, that's not necessarily the image you want to give off, right? What I mean by going to the club, right? Like they got their shirt, if they're a guy, they got their silk shirt on, halfway unbuttoned, nice pants and shoes. Their hair's did. They're about to like they're gonna go to the party, right? And they're ready to drink. Or on the ladies, they got their short skirt on or short shorts on and thigh high boots and their little jacket, and they look like, hey, we about to bring the party to you. Again, I'm not saying that you need the suit and the tie or the blazer and the pencil skirt, any of that, right? What I'm saying is you need to know your clientele and you need to ask yourself, would this be an image that my prospect is going to be confident in my skill set? That is it, right? So every morning I get up and I ask myself when I'm going on site, is this the image that I want to represent to make the prospect feel confident in my abilities? If I look at myself and I say, no, they would say, ooh, they're probably not going to be as confident in me. I change, right? Now, sometimes it's a little bit harder for me when I'm on the road. So I have to think about that before I even get on the plane or wherever. I had to start that at home. So please just be mindful of these things. It's these little attention to detail things that can really boost your leasing performance. Well, that's the Micro Living Edition today, guys. I hope you enjoyed talking about your personal image, and I hope you had one takeaway. Feel free to send me an email, drop me a message on LinkedIn, reach out to me on what kind of topics you would like to learn about in these micro livings. Again, I'm Ronald Harrington, and you've been listening to Rooms with Ronald, Micro Living Edition. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in today. I hope I left you with some fresh ideas or a new perspective. Leasing and marketing are evolving rapidly, and Rooms with Ronald is committed to offering a place to hear about those changes. We also celebrate and acknowledge the fundamentals of exceptional service that will never go out of style. So, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, or subscribe. Visit multifamilymedianetwork.com to learn more about our other exceptional industry podcasts, thought pieces, and sponsorship opportunities.